Hello and welcome back to the third and hopefully final post-commentary video for Let's Play Third Age Total War with me, Blue Ankylo. So yeah, I promise to do my best to fix this in the future and catch the cameras being off before it starts. So anyway, welcome back, and obviously I'm already playing, so I'm sieging this next town with my giant army, and I'm noticing that this guy has a slightly better wall. They actually can put troops on the wall rather than just hide behind it. So I'm thinking, well, we're going to want some better siege equipment than just the ram. So I'm sort of deciding whether I want ladders or towers. And I think I save the towers generally for castles and stone walls and stuff generally. For just a small wooden palisade or whatever, I think ladders are generally good. And I'm like, well, this is a pretty big army. I'm not in a big rush to take it, so we're just going to see how things go. And I want to keep my spy for just checking to see if there's anything coming. I think my plan is if I see an army heading to back them up, I'll attack immediately. But if not, then I'll just siege them out for a little while. So you know how it is. Check their money, finish construction. Our burst something or other city is actually pretty close to growing. I think I did a bit of math here. It's like 70 new dudes per turn, so it's only a few turns off actually. I don't know how many exactly, but maybe 10 turns. It's a pretty safe bet we'll have a new upgrade, which is good. And nothing else to build here anyways, so there's not much you can do. We've got some new units. And again, the Mordor-Gondor war peace continues. So that's not very good. I don't like the sound of that. Something's weird's going on. So I'm like, well, let's see if we can get some map information off of Rhun. And looks like they're willing to do it this time. Alric of Woldburg. And our dude, as you can see here, has a lot of diplomacy scrolls. He's a pretty powerful diplomat. And with a little bit of thinking, the computer decides, of course, we'll give you your map. So we get a bunch more of these videos to skip through, because we didn't actually explore them. And you can see on the map how Rohan's doing. And I figured, from the looks of it, not too bad. They've lost some territory, but overall they're still doing okay. They've got their capital and stuff. So I'm like, well, now we just got to check on Gondor, and we'll have an idea of what's going on in the game.
Journey planned out.
We'll know if they're being crushed or not by maybe like Harad has destroyed them or something. You never know. So yeah, what else is there? Oldunavan, we're building farms. Esgaroth, we're building our new unit structures for archers and stuff, and eventually the more expensive units, the good ones. So that's exciting. What else was I doing around here? Just double checking, making sure I haven't forgotten anything important. I find this dwarf army that's like stuck here, that was supposed to take Kugavad from Rhun, but now it's like they don't know what to do. And I'm like, you know, this is a pretty good army, you know, they got catapults and stuff. They've got like these dragon slayers, they look pretty awesome. Magic warriors, all kinds of cool stuff. But for some reason it's like bugged out and they're not even moving. So I don't know what the deal is. It's like the AI just forgot about that army or something. So anyway, they're just standing around, you know, guarding the road. And our army, yeah, nice big stack. And over here I'm thinking, well, what should we do? We got a small Rhun army. Maybe I should clean that up. I'm like, you know, I probably should clean that up. Instead of letting them regroup somewhere, I should probably just destroy it and not let them escape. Because I'm lazy like that sometimes, and I let the Rhun armies, just the little puny armies, I let them travel around. So I'm thinking, okay, we're not going to let that happen.
My lord speaks highly.
This town, and I'm also noticing, like, look at all these tribesmen. It's like that's all they know how to recruit now. Like, I wonder how many tribesmen are here, because it seems like that's all they've got. It's like, we're just going to recruit tribesmen all the time. So I'm like, well, maybe I should take this city, because it's only got 3 dudes. I'm like, you know, I could probably do it, and then we'd have their capital. I'm like, yeah, I think that's a good plan. Right? That's a good plan, guys, isn't it? I'm like, yeah, I'm not too worried about that one back there. I'm like, Oldunavan's pretty well defended, especially if I can keep recruiting stuff. So I really don't want to lose that castle, but I'm like, it's probably okay. And they probably won't attack it that far back, so I'm like, yeah, you know, like, who needs brothels? Still no money for brothels. Leather tanners, all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, Would be nice to have at least the level 1 culture building. Standing stones are the cheapest because it gives you 2% culture per turn, and then at least it grows. And the difference is between the first and the second building is only 1%. So I'm like, you know, as long as you have the first one, your culture will grow all the way eventually. So there's no need to rush it with the more expensive buildings. So I'm like, yeah, we should try to get the standing stones everywhere. And then I'm like looking at city population. I'm like, man, these towns are going to take forever to grow. It's just crazy.
Your orders, my
So
lord.
we're building our siege units there. Siege construction.
Yes.
I'm like, all right, let's do this
Yes, my
thing.
lord.
Let's leave behind some. Let's regroup a little bit. Figure out what we're going to do here, and prepare to move off of Burr something or other.
Your orders.
I figure I can't leave it completely undefended. And I mean, they're going to revolt if I leave it with that few. So I'm like, no, that's not going to work.
Yes,
so we have to send something back. I'm like,
Your orders, my lord.
what's the lousiest unit we've got? You know, I don't really like javelins. I know they've got a good use, but it just doesn't work for my playstyle
Yes,
very
my
often.
lord.
So for most part, I'm like, you know, see you later, javelins. You can keep the city happy, keep it growing, good enough. And then the big army, I'm like, okay, I gotta
Your
take that
orders, my
army
lord.
out. And I think I plan to do it off camera. So this one, I don't think you get to see if I do that. I'm like, what I should do though is reinforce a little bit, just in case they pull a prank on me and suddenly they've got a big army. I'm like, yeah, let's just make sure we're safe, you know. Make sure there's no big armies hiding in the forests or in the mountains with the spies, you know. It's a good plan to keep your vision, line of sight. So I think I do this battle off camera. Maybe. Yeah, I did it off camera and I ended turn. So welcome to the next turn, everybody. And if I remember correctly, that battle went pretty smooth. There wasn't anything bad. In fact, I think I pretty much crushed them. I lost like 10 dudes and killed their entire army. So I think that one was a good one. Just a nice plain battle. And I'm like, you know what? Capital City, I think this is time to siege.
To battle.
Stick with the rams and the ladders for now.
Yes.
And got some reinforcements for Burr something. You know, I figure that's probably enough to keep it safe. Looks like, I think I figured at this point, it looks like Rhun is turtling. Like, they're just trying to defend their settlements right now. So they're just putting stacks, as many armies as they can into their cities to defend them. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm okay with that. I don't feel threatened right now. Oh yeah, and then there's pirates. I'm like, yeah, rebel pirates out of nowhere, so that sucks. I can't even recruit ships right now, and there's pirates. So they'll probably raid our trade or something, our sea trade. So I'm like, okay, Uldo Navan needs a new building. Probably gonna go with food. Always end up with food. Food and roads, you know my deal. Make money, make crops, travel faster, and trade more, or something like that. Grow faster, that's it. Grow, make money, travel. Yeah, you know how it is. Anyway, so what else have I doing? I'm like looking at my troops, I'm thinking, yeah, don't really have a lot of money to mess with right now, but it'd be nice to have a bigger army. And I'm like, how long is it going to take for these cities to grow, right? Because, like, I'm really limited. Like, Esgaroth is the only place I've got buildings. Everywhere else is, like, there's nothing to build. There's just ballistas, brothels, and leather tanners and stuff that I don't really care about too much. So I'm like, is anything going to grow? I'm, like, looking around at my population. It's like, nope, it's going to take 100 turns for anything to grow. So I'm, like, a little bit disappointed, but you know, alright, so if we can't grow our cities, we can't get new buildings, I'm like, you know what, we're just going to have to kill everyone. I queue up a chicken farm because I'm like, yeah, that makes us grow faster. I should have had that way earlier. So, I forgot about that. My apologies. Nothing to build anywhere. I'm like, not that we have a lot of money to build stuff, to be fair, but I'm like, seems like we should be building stuff, right? Like, I'm only building stuff in like 2 cities right now or something. So, anyway, I'm just double checking my population growth, trying to find what to do. I'm like, alright, so we're sieging Roman. They got a pretty big army. And I'm thinking, well, they got a lot of dudes, right? Lots of dudes. They got pretty good archers. I was looking at those guys. They're not as good as our longbowmen, but they're pretty good. They've got a couple skirmishers, which are always a pain. They got lots of infantry. So they've got a good, nice, balanced army, actually. They've got some generals. You know, it's actually a pretty good army. It's not huge, but it's pretty decent. So I'm like, okay, what are we going to do with this thing? I'm thinking, should we siege it or should we just, like, wait it out, right? I'm thinking, okay, we got 14 turns to take that second city. That's good, because we like our money. But if I lose too many troops taking Roman, then that's going to make it hard anyway.
my lord.
So I'm like, I wonder how long I can let this siege go, right? I've got a pretty good stack of army, but they're not very powerful. I've only got a few good units, a lot of fodder, just Hearth Watchmen and Dalesmen. They're not very tough. And like I probably could take the city, but I'd take a lot of casualties. I'm like, we got good siege equipment. Not worried about that, but the troops in there are pretty tough. So I'm looking around, I'm like, well, let's double check, let's see if anything's coming for us. Be nice to take Mataram as well. Mataram-a-rama. I'm like, a lot of thinking here, just deciding what's the best way to go. I think I'm like, okay, so I know after every turn of sieging, they lose some troops. I'm like, I wonder how many troops they lose. So they have 151 right now for most of them. I think I said that when I was looking at that. 151 for most of their stacks. And we're going to see just how much they lose over the end turn. Because I was thinking, like, if they only lose one troop per stack, or per army, per unit, I'm like, no point, then we might as well just attack. But if they lose like 10 dudes every turn, then that's significant. You know, we can really whittle them down just by waiting. So, and I'm not in a big rush, right? Like, you know, I think we've beaten Rhun back. We've had a really good, strong early push. So I can afford to be patient and, you know, preserve my armies as best I can by doing a long siege, which I normally don't do. And Rhun, I mean, it looks like they're scared. They're like, you know, ceasefire, peace, peace, please, peace. And I'm like, no. Peace offer denied. You know. And then someone wants to get married to one of my dudes. I'm like, sure, of course. Some young woman wants to get married, you're in. Like, I don't even know who it is, but thanks. Maybe it's our heir, I don't know. We'll find out in a bit, as soon as I remember. Diplomat gets stuck, but it reminds me about him, so I'm like, okay, yes, don't get stuck. I'm like, oh yeah, Mordor's going to take that city, so long, Rohan. Rohan might not be doing very good. And then I noticed this, a chain of the Mayor of Dale. And I'm like, since when do agents get things that boost tax and law and stuff? I'm like, I wonder if this is like a bug and it's supposed to be for generals or what the deal is. We'll have to move him back to a city eventually, because if he can actually give like boost to city growth and stuff, that'd be awesome. I'm like, man, this is an awesome diplomat. Like, he's been around a while. He's only 25 and he's got amazing stats. Super. So I'm like, all right, send him to Gondor. Stick to business here. Let's get going. We're still poor. Got some more babies. You know, lots of babies in our realm. Stones and babies. That's what we got. Lots of that. I'm like, brothels. Yeah, we don't need that many more babies. We got enough. so we got some swordsmen. You know, that's good. Good times were had. Mordor and Gondor continue peace back and forth. Peace war, peace war. Isengard hates us. Like, whatever, I don't care. And then, yeah, we got married. I'm like, okay, so who got married? I'm like, Harkin. Alright, so this is our, like, general of, or man of the day, whatever they said it was, you know. I'm like, he seems cool. I mean, he's a little bit scary, so he's not a very good governor. But in battle, that's cool. Makes the enemies rout quick and stuff. So I'm like, nice. He's married. He's not really part of our family because he's not in our family tree, but cool. Right on, dude. So I'm like, alright, so what are we going to do? I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to check the numbers here, right? So they were 151 last turn, 144. And if my math is correct, that's 5% loss, basically. 77 to 74 and 151 to 144. I'm pretty sure it's 5%. So I'm thinking, you know, I could let that go for a few turns because they have something like 8 groups of units at 140. If they lose 70 per turn, that's so 7 per unit times 10 or times 8 or something. They're losing like 60 or 70 men every turn, which is like half a unit per turn, all overall, like just spread across. And I'm like, you know, that's pretty significant. Like, if I just let this siege wait out, they're gonna lose a lot of dudes. They're gonna show up like after 5 turns, they'll be down to like 100, 110 units max per 100 to 110 troops per unit or something. You know what I mean, right? Pretty cool. So I'm like, yeah, all right, I can wait it out. We're not in a rush. And this side, I'm like, oh, more of these stupid armies. I hate those armies. We'll just ignore them, that one. Who cares, right? And I'm like, okay, we got Grid Droughts, my good guys. They've got... What am I looking at? I'm like trying to figure out what they've got in this capital. Like, I'm sure they're going to defend their capital with good units, right? But it doesn't look good. I'm like, Clan Warriors, what are these guys? Haven't seen them before. They're like dual-wielding scimitar crazy guys. Those are like their normal dudes. So I'm like, maybe those are tough. But I think I risk it anyway, right? I'm like, who cares if they've got deadly two-handed scimitar ninjas? We're going to assault. We don't need 3 ladders. 2 ladders is lots. Captain Bartan. So I'm like, oh yeah, clan warriors. I'm like, wow, 9 attack? They're like stronger than any of our dudes at attack power. But they have no shields. So I'm like, okay, no shields. Not a lot of armor really. They'll probably die quick, but they could sure dish the damage out. Got their archers, missile cav, all the standard stuff really. Standard Rhun units. I'm really shocked that I haven't seen any of their golden units other than like once or twice. Like they've got really powerful golden upper elite units. And I'm wondering if MOS has just changed it so much that maybe it's actually easier with MOS. I don't know. I thought it would be harder, honestly. But no, I mean I haven't really played a full campaign of MOS before, so this is kind of new to me. But usually these computer AIs, like they've got tons of really powerful units normally. So anyway, we got a new town to take, and yeah, they can put troops on the wall finally after all those small villages. I'm like, okay, so we got to plan this out a little bit. Check a look at the sides. I think I decide that the sides aren't really all that appealing because it's kind of a little crooked, and I'm like, yeah, you know, whatever. I could probably split my forces up, but who cares, right? We'll just go straight up the middle. It's probably a bad decision. Let's just say that's probably not the smartest thing I've ever done. I probably should have split my troops up and done a prong attack or something. So anyway, I moved my siege equipment back just so I could organize stuff a little better. And I put my longbowmen up here in loose, just so that the towers and stuff... I mean, I know they have archers that'll be on the wall, so it won't be so easy to just kill them all with arrows like before. So I'm like, alright, let's put our dudes up here. We've got... not a lot of archers still, but we've got some. We've got our general archers, which are okay, just not very large. 46 is still pretty small, but I'm like, you know, they can help. I think I grouped them all together here or something. No, I don't know what I'm doing. Thinking. You know, when you're playing these kind of games and commentating at the same time, sometimes you gotta just sit back and think for a second. Anyway, so we got our battering ram ready to go. I think I'm like, where should I take the walls out? Okay, we've got a couple ladders back here somewhere if I can find them, hiding underneath my troops. Yeah, hiding. So I'm like, okay, so ladders. How are we gonna do this? First, you gotta select the ladder. Second, you have to put them somewhere near a wall. That's good. I'm pretty talented at this game. I think I decide we're just going to focus on the center. This again is probably a mistake. I probably shouldn't have had all my troops this close together. I should have spread them out. That way the enemy, because we outnumber the enemy, they couldn't defend all the walls. I could have had these guys spread all around, and then I could have just walked in much easier. But yeah, I figured let's just go for a frontal assault, you know, something epic. I got some cav, which are mostly useless, of course, so they can just watch. And I'm like, you know, got 3 units of powerful infantry. We'll use them as the main push once we get the doors open. And yeah, let's get to it, I think. Please get to it. Come on, Blue Ankylo. Get to it. Yeah! Alright, so they defend the wall as usual, the front wall. And you can kind of see they put their javelin dudes up on the wall, which is a brilliant decision by them, you'll see shortly. And they've got their deadly dual-wielding scimitar guys up there, which doesn't matter too much. It's probably not the best place for them. If I was defending, that's not where I would put them. So I'm like, alright, well, if they're there, I'll let my archers shoot them. You don't hit them very much when they're on the towers, or not on the towers, when they're on walls like this. The angle's not so good for your archers. But you do kill some of them, and my archers are pretty good. And I find their archers over here, and I'm like, well, we probably should shoot them, but it's going to be difficult because they're spread out so far. Also, one thing I didn't think of right here is my longbowmen are actually too close. My left flank longbowmen, I probably should have them move further back, so that, because my guys I'm sure have a longer range, I could actually be hitting their archers outside of the range where they could hit my archers, my longbowmen, and that would be good. But I didn't think of that, so another mistake from Blue Ankylo. At least I got lots of loose formation, that's got to help. So I'm like, alright boys, what you gonna do? You gonna shoot? I'm like, vertical shots, I hate that, I hate that. But at least there's lots of arrows coming at them, and we're in loose formation, so that's better than nothing. Got my laddermen running to the walls, which is, you know, helpful. You can kind of see some arrows hitting these guys every now and then, but you can kind of tell with the angle when they're up on the wall. It's much harder to get a good volley in on them. And their towers are ripping us apart, actually. I think their towers do a lot of damage in this battle. And then I realized somewhere around here, wait a second, the gate's open. Have you noticed that already? I just noticed that. Yeah, these guys are just getting murdered by the javelins. You can see, that's not good. I've lost a lot of watchmen to that javelins. Javelineers on a wall is pretty smart. So I'm like, wait a second, what the heck is going on? Alright, drop everything, stop what you're doing. They've got the gate open, we gotta kill these guys, right? So, you know, that's changed my mind, I attacked them. Seeing as the gate is already open, we actually don't need the battering ram. It's kind of in the wrong spot there. So the AI decides to charge out at us, and they actually use their missile cavalry and melee, which is, I think it's a mistake, but what it does do is it ties up all these troops, so I can't really get in. I can't get through. If I went up the ladders, I could take the walls, but I decided to fight them in melee. And their javelins are just massacring us. Like, I mean, sure, our watchmen have pretty weak armor, but wow, those javelins from the walls just killing us. So yeah, if you're defending and you've got javelineers, definitely put them on the walls and have them rain death down, because that's pretty good. You can also see their archers fire arrowing my archers. I actually lose a lot of longbowmen there. I'm kind of disappointed with how that worked out. I should have moved my guys back. The good news is their cavalry doesn't escape, so we managed to, you know, contain them. They've lost, you know, 30 dudes. I've actually lost almost as many longbowmen. Look at all my poor burning longbowmen. That's really sad. So many of them are on fire. That's not good. So I wasn't happy about that. I really should have moved those longbowmen back, looking at it now, so they were out of range. But oh well, can't change it. Hindsight's 20/20. You know how they say. So anyway, my Hearth Watchmen are taking some pretty rough casualties over here, and I'm like, you know what? The only good thing is that the javelin guys run out of ammo, because they only get a few volleys and then they're out. So I'm like, at least that's done. We've weathered the storm. Looks like, you know, they're not throwing any more javelins at us, basically. The archers are still going, but we're pretty much in. We've killed most of their horses. I'm like, you know what? Get up on those walls. They've got some dudes up on the walls. I'm going to start sending in my powerful troops. Start taking the walls. I'm like, I should have done this ages ago. Dwarves, go take the wall and kill the javelins. Why didn't I think of that earlier? That would have been smart, right? I had these ladders. I didn't even use them. So, yeah, you know, I don't think this was my best battle, definitely. I mean, I don't think we're going to lose, but that wasn't a very good start. That wasn't a smart tactic, you know. I should have spread my ladders out, and I should have actually climbed up them at some point. At least one of my spearmen get lucky and kill their horse general, captain, something or other. So here we have an odd situation where our troops are climbing up the ladder over top of the enemies that are climbing down the ladder. It's a little bit strange. Ladders, you know, I don't know if that's how ladders really work in real life, where you can have like 100 guys climbing up and down at the same time, but, you know, Total War, sometimes it works. It's even better when trolls are climbing up the ladders. But we're not seeing that today anyway. So yeah, you know, it's a good fight. We've lost a ton of... Look at all these bodies. That's unfortunate. We've lost a lot of dudes. I should never have left them that close to the walls. Maybe even their towers are hitting them. I don't even know. But the archers are certainly killing my archers. Oh, look, I finally decided to move them back after they've lost like half their unit. And they're not even, the enemy's not even shooting them anymore. That was disappointing. Yeah, my guys are having a hard time on those ladders. Ladders are a little bit bitchy sometimes. It looks like my dwarves, though, are killing the javelineers pretty well. I think this is what dwarves are really good at, is like wall fighting and city fighting. They can just like one-on-one, and they've got so high defense and attack that very few of them will die. They will hold and they will last for a long time. They generally have good stamina too compared to most enemies, or most troops. So they do quite well up there. Like, at this point I'm like, I would love to just get the whole group to rout and just auto-win it like I did in the first battle I ever showed you guys. But those archers are actually causing me a lot of trouble. I should have sent a unit to deal with them, but I forgot. I should have done something about them. I mean, my dwarves are doing okay here with the tribesmen. Yeah, they actually just got them to rout. So, I mean, the dwarves did good in this battle. They did pretty good. And right here, almost every enemy unit is routing except that archer unit. So I would have won the battle right here before those guys get to the middle if the archers had routed in time. So I messed that up. If I'd timed it better, I could have just won the battle and saved myself a lot of casualties. Unfortunately now, if I get the archers to rout, these guys have already regrouped and it doesn't even matter. So that was my very, very small window of opportunity that I missed. And at this point I'm like, okay, stop shooting arrows, guys. You know, I don't want any more friendly fire, basically. And of course my archers refused the order. Like, I clicked, you saw me click it. I clicked stop auto fire on my longbowmen. It didn't work. And I'll realize this eventually. It's just frustrating. Controls are not working for me today. I'm like, okay, you know what? Horses, get in there. I'm tired of everything. Blue Inculo is like, why are my archers still shooting? Stop that. And cavalry, just go kill something, basically. Like, you know, I just want some blood. At this point, it's all about the blood. Like, everybody that's not doing anything, get in there and kill. And I'm like, speed things up. Why are my archers still shooting? Stop it, you idiots. I'm like, man, how many times do I have to click stop shooting, basically? So, anyway, I don't know what the problem was. No one wants to listen to me. We've basically won, but because they didn't route together, we have to kill them to the man. And that's kind of frustrating. It's a little bit frustrating for me when you could have won a battle nice and clean, and then you have to drag it on a little longer and lose more of your dudes. I hate losing dudes, especially when it's hard to replenish them. Like, it's really difficult to get new longbowmen right now. So, and dwarves too. That last battle where I lost 2/3 of my dwarves, that was disappointing. But I think this is a fairly quick win at this point. Not much left.
Our men have taken control
Just killing the last few units as usual. The inevitable slaughter of the Rhunian army. And I believe somewhere around here we win.
The enemy army
Woohoo!
flees the field. Pursue and run them down.
Is
Be awed
not a
by
great
the
victory. It's
won
okay.
here
It's an
today.
average victory, I'd call it. Could have done a lot better if I'd been a bit smarter, but I wasn't thinking. But that's Rhun's capital. We got it, boys and girls and YouTubesters. So yeah, Rhun is pretty much out. I mean, they're not completely crushed yet, but they've only got a few towns left, and we're doing really good. We got, you know, we got their capital. Look at the video. Woohoo! I was pretty happy about that. Even though the battle didn't go terribly well, we got it. So I'm looking at their enemy settlements. I'm like, I'd like to take Mataran, but I think actually that army that I'm using is really beat down right now. And until I can get it reinforced, I'm probably not going to push anymore. Get some culture for sure right off the bat. But I'm like, you know, this army is not doing so good. I looked at my retinue there for a second just to see what we've got. But I think I decide that we're not actually going to just keep charging forward. This troops, it's pretty beaten up. The last couple battles have been a little bit harsh on it. So I'm like, we've almost covered the Rhun Sea. There's only like one town left for totally encircling it. And we've got Rhun on the ropes. We've got to take that city to finish up the sea and finish our council quest. And yeah, we've actually got a trade port here. We've got a town hall. This is actually a pretty good town. Lots of stuff. Lots of new buildings. It's as big as Dale right now, you know. I'm like, yeah, more money from a trading post. Woohoo! And I'm like, nice. They got all the basic recruitment buildings and stuff. So once the culture flips, we'll be able to recruit some more stuff down here, which is nice. And yeah, I'm like, okay, Roman, what are we gonna do with this city? I'm like, I think at this point I decide I'm just gonna wait him out because I lost so many dudes in that last siege. I'm like, nah, this is a nice big army, but this is a really good army defending too, so I don't want to lose too much. So I'll just keep an eye open, try to make sure no one's reinforcing that city, and just let it siege out, basically. Burn some turns and win eventually.
Yes, my lord.
So yeah, I don't think there's much else I did this turn. Might have just checked for things to build or recruit. Like, oh yeah, diplomat, right? Because I wanted to talk to the dwarves. I never did get that dwarf map, right? So I'm like, yeah, let's try that again. Try to get the dwarves map, see what they're doing. And yeah, I think that's it. So I believe that's all for this episode, and I promise to try to make sure I do live commentary in the future. Just had some bad luck with fraps, and yeah, hopefully it'll make more sense next time. So thanks for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and have a great day.